Hey, it's your girl Evelyn, and I'm back for another day of Vlogmas. And I want to use this video to kick off the self-care mini-series that I'm going to be doing throughout Vlogmas, okay? And here's the thing, let me just give you a little background information. You guys know, I don't want to beat a dead horse, you know, unless you're new, okay? Welcome. If you're new, welcome to the channel. Hit subscribe. Go ahead, turn on those notifications. If you're already subscribed, y'all, I'm doing Vlogmas, so make sure you turn on your notifications so you can get a new video every day in December, guys. Okay, focus. So, the reason why I'm now going to be talking about self-care, number one, because it's been in my YouTube banner for forever and I haven't really talked about it, which I need to, but when I got diagnosed with cancer, that's what I mean by I'm saying I'm not going to be the dead horse. One of the things I asked my doctor was, how was I healthy for all of these years, and all of my tests and things came back normal, and then from 1 year to 1 year, like about a year and a month, I went from being healthy to a cancer diagnosis. And one of the first things she said to me was stress. Diet and exercise were on there, but she said stress. And so as someone who in the past struggled with anxiety and just, you know, and maybe one day we'll talk about that, but I have had to really prioritize my self-care, and so I'm not going to get into what I do for self-care in this video. I'm going to do that in subsequent videos. But what this video is going to be about is really helping people understand the difference between self-care and self-maintenance, because they're two completely different things. And I think a lot of times people get them confused if they don't have a benchmark for what their self-maintenance is, right? So, for example, for me, washing my hair, giving myself a facial, going to get a mani and pedi, taking a bubble bath, that's not self-care, that's self-maintenance. Because I've just decided as a woman, there's a certain benchmark of how I want to treat myself. Follow me. Self-care is that above and beyond. Let me say this. And if you're a parent, I don't want you to get offended, okay? Because I'm not a parent. This is in no way judgment. Listen, I'm taking a risk. This is the spicy. Remember we talked about me being spicy? This is the spiciness in me. Feeding and clothing a child and making sure they don't die is maintaining a child. That's not caring for the child. Really paying attention to that child's interests and cultivating their skill set and making sure that they're emotionally healthy and making sure that they feel, well, love should be part of maintenance. Actually, all that I'm saying should be part of maintenance. But like making sure something doesn't die is one thing. Is you just maintaining that thing. You're not trying to cultivate it. You're not trying to expand it and grow it and expand it, right? So I think I may have said expand twice. Just rock with it, okay? Maybe the children was a bad example. Think about it in the terms of a garden. For example, here we go. I maintain my plants, okay? I maintain my plants, okay? All I do is water them and make sure they get sun occasionally. I don't put special plant food in them. I don't mist their leaves. I don't prune them. I don't talk to them and give them wonderful carbon dioxide. I don't, you know, oh, this is getting too big, let me change the plant. I don't rotate them around the house. I don't put growth, I water them and make sure they get light. And sometimes I don't do that well. They haven't died. I'm maintaining them. The things that I just mentioned are care, right? And so when it comes to self-care and self-maintenance, I think there's a lot of confusion, at least by my definition, about what self-care is and what self-care is not. And a lot of posts and things that I see on Pinterest or online or just in discussion are things that should be self-maintenance, and people are treating their self-maintenance like self-care and wondering why they're just not really into the self-care thing. I think the challenge or the opportunity is you have to have a really high self-value to set your benchmark of what your maintenance, excuse me, I need some water. As I was saying, I think you have to value yourself at a higher level. So this is not saying that if you're self-care and self-maintenance is you have low self-esteem. That's not what I'm saying, because I don't think that's the answer to everything. Oh, you have low self-esteem. But I think it's having an even higher value for yourself to say, this is the benchmark of how I'm going to live. These are non-negotiables that I need just to function at a healthy level. I think culturally, particularly our culture, particularly in Western culture, maybe as African Americans, sometimes as women, our baseline of where we can function is too low, which is we're functioning sleep deprived, tired, stressed, anxious, barely getting by as far as how we feel as our benchmark, and not, hey, the basis needs to be, I need to feel secure and confident and rested and valued and cherished, and like that's the basis. And so for me, what I had to learn was that my self-maintenance was lacking, and I couldn't even get to a really high level of self-care until I got my self-maintenance under control. And so one of the things I talk about, like, you know, in my last video, I talked about like what I do for a living. Oh no, that wasn't my last video. I think that was my second day of Vlogmas. You know, I'm filming a lot of videos at the same time, so just rock with me. But in that video, I talked about what I did for a living. And when I was talking about, you know, what I do as a strategist for entrepreneurs, particularly usually creative entrepreneurs, particularly usually women, usually women. And we had all of to do some, like all of my clients, we had to do some work around that. And I've actually, you know, for my group program, been creating some things that really work on that, having systematic and strategic self-care and not haphazard occasional self-care. So, and if you want more details about that, I'll tell you about that later. But I just wanted to come in on this video and talk about the difference between self-care and self-maintenance, and that you need to just really ask yourself, is your self-maintenance at a premium level? And then you can get to the higher levels of self-care. And it's different for every woman. One of the things that I can tell you, because, you know, we family, we cool, okay, is when I was in counseling, and I make no secret about going to therapy. Maybe I'll do a video about that, but when I'm team, get you a therapist, get you a counselor, get you somebody, okay? In addition to prayer and journaling and self-care, get you a licensed professional to when you have emotional trauma. Like, I'm always amazed that people will have physical trauma and will go to the urgent care, will go to the emergency room, will take pills that are probably not good for them and do all these things, but when they have emotional trauma, I'm just gonna sit at home. And I'm like, yo, you know that's going to heal bad, right? It's kind of like if you break your foot and you don't go get that thing reset and you don't go see a doctor, it's going to heal wrong. And when every time you step on it wrong, it's going to hurt. It's the same thing with emotional trauma. But that's a completely separate video. Let me know if you want me to do a video about that. But anyway, one of the things that my therapist asked me once several years ago when we were working through my anxiety was, what do I do to relax? And she was very clear that relaxing was probably not scrolling through social media, right? That's numbing, which is a completely different thing. Y'all, for the record, I love Brene Brown. Love her, love her, love her. She talks about the difference between like adult play and numbing, and they're not the same thing. Anyway, and so my homework assignment was to, when I came back in 2 weeks, was to write down 5 things that I do to intentionally relax. And so y'all, I was like, okay, y'all, 2 weeks later, I'm sitting in the parking lot trying to come up with my 5 things, and I couldn't. And she made it very clear that the exercise wasn't even about the 5 things. She was like, the reason you're anxious or like have this low, like almost like a low grade fever of anxiety, like it's not paralyzing, but it's just constantly there, is you're not very clear. How do you know what you need to decompress? And if you don't know, then I know that you're not doing it, right? And so that really was like, okay, so like when I got diagnosed with cancer, I needed to go right into my high level self-care. Like I had to raise my level of self-maintenance, because clearly my level of self-maintenance wasn't working because I got diagnosed with cancer, okay? You know, and one of my contributing factors was a high level of stress. Well, that's because I didn't know what I needed to do to decompress. And so one of the things that I teach my clients is you gotta know what you do to decompress and to really take care of yourself and not just maintain. And so I kind of walk them through a process of what that looks like in part of their time with me. So anyway, but just wanted to come on to kind of set the stage for the self-care series. In the next couple of videos, I don't know how many I'm going to do, maybe 3 videos in the maybe all of my mini series will be like 3 to 4 videos inside of Vlogmas. I will talk about what I do for how I came up with my answers, and maybe I'll just share with you what I do, and maybe it will be an inspiration to you. But let me know in the comments below, do you have a difference between your self-care and the self-maintenance, or is that a new concept to you? Let me know, and then let me know if you want me to do a video about like the importance of therapy. Actually, I might do that anyway, just because I feel like that would just be a service to my people, about like get you a therapist or a counselor. You got a doctor, you got that one nail tech you'll only go to, you got that one hair person you'll only go to, but you don't have no therapist. Like I can't. Okay, I cannot. All right, let me go. I have places to go and things to do and people to see. But I will see you tomorrow. Peace.